What is up, addicts? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. In this video, we are doing another player breakdown, looking today at TJ Hockenson, tight end for the Detroit Lions, and coming up with an expectation of what we think that his fantasy season for 2020 could possibly look like. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button for us for more videos like this one, and let's get into the video. Taking a look at TJ Hockenson last year was not really anything great from a fantasy perspective. Tight ends very rarely actually break out or do much in their first year, but there were at least a few signs of spark here. Finishing the season with only 32 receptions, starting at 67 receiving yards and 2 total touchdowns, missing a quarter of the season with an ankle sprain. Finished with the 22nd most fantasy points and 22nd most fantasy points per game. Came out hot in week 1 against the terrible Cardinals defense, put up a 6 for 131 and 1 touchdown game, and then from that point forward, never really happy starting him unless you played him against Kansas City where he had a touchdown. Other than that, pretty upsetting. After blowing up week 1, it made it really hard for people to move on from him for a while, so he probably brought it on your bench for a while. And then obviously Matthew Stafford getting hurt halfway through the season didn't help matters much either, but again, definitely some positive notes to ring through. Obviously, again, knowing that tight ends very rarely break out in their first year, still showing the ceiling that he has in that first week. Some things to remember: last year, he still finished with 181 yards after the catch, which actually accounted for half of his yards. So if his volume goes up at all, there's definitely some massive room for growth for him. Coming out of college, he had a 70 plus percentile college dominator rating, college yards perception, and Spark X score. There's only 4 tight ends in the league that have done this. So from an athletic profile, TJ Hockenson is still a premier athlete at the tight end position. Also coming in with that first round draft capital. A lot to like coming into his second year, potential breakout year. Tight ends, sometimes they take 4 years to break out, but we have seen breakouts in the second and third year. TJ Hockenson could be this year's Mark Andrews. He's cheap enough that make it worthwhile just betting on that talent. Finished last year with 11.5 yards per reception, which was 16th best in the league, 8.1 average target distance, and a 58.8% route participation. So you're hoping that route participation percentage goes up a good bit this year. And I mean, outside of Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay, not really much else going on in the wide receiver core for the Lions. So TJ Hockenson could be seeing a uptick in usage this year. I mean, at this point, it is definitely more of a roll of the dice because we didn't see much evidence of that happening last year. But again, just knowing historically how long tight ends can typically take to break out, the fact that you can get TJ Hockenson in the double-digit rounds, taking 2 tight ends, if you don't take a tight end early, is probably going to end up being the best redraft strategy this year. And taking a guy with the talent profile of Hockenson makes a lot of sense. On the team that he's playing for, Lions are most likely going to have to throw the ball a lot again, as they were last year. Matthew Stafford healthy again could be a good uptick in usage for TJ Hockenson heading into 2020. So where we have him finishing the season right now, probably closer to his floor, but we do have him being a little bit more involved in the passing game, getting 49 receptions, 576 receiving yards, and 5 total touchdowns, giving him 138.4 fantasy points. That would put him at the low-end tight end 1s, high-end tight end 2s for the most part. Probably someone you're going to end up streaming, but again, with the athletic profile, the monster that he is, the potential for him to break out and be something much more, definitely worth taking a shot on him in the later portion of your draft. And really just like the Lions as a whole this year for the fantasy options on the offense. Considering how poor that defense is, they're going to have to score a lot of points if they want to, A, try to win games, and B, if Matt Patricia is trying to keep his job, he's going to be fighting for his life. And sometimes that can create a lot of garbage time, which can really help fantasy production. So take a shot at TJ Hockenson this year. The athletic profile is the main reason that you're doing it. Obviously, outside of week 1, he didn't really do anything to make you feel that comfortable about it from a fantasy perspective. But anytime you have a guy that is this athletic and is going that late in drafts, it's worth a shot. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will continue breaking down, heading into the another team in the NFC North. Will be heading up the Packers next and going through those guys. So hit that subscribe button for more videos like this, and we'll